What's up, brick builders? Today's build is a desert dune buggy. It's the Model B of the hot rod, set number 42022. Year it came out was 2014. Age group, you're looking at 9 to 16. Number of parts, 414. 7 pence was the price per piece. Cost of it, brand new in 2014, was $29.99. Value right now, mint sealed, good condition, £57, and used you're looking at £12 to £19. What's up, folks? Shaun from BRIT'N Bricks. How you doing? I hope you're well. This is a Model B Technic build, and there are our parts. Well, our lovely parts there. I'll get the instructions up for you. There you go. And we're starting off with a 15 black Technic beam plus a black pin going into the back. And 2 blue pins on the opposite side, 1 whole space, and then another whole space, and then another black pin on the other side. And we got two hole connector with pin and axle, and then that is going to go 3 holes, 1, 2, 3 there, like that. Next stage is a small L shape, blue pin, not pushed all the way in, black pin, and a 3 axle. And that is going to go on the end like so. Then we've got 2 hole connector and a blue pin with axle. That's going to go on the end of the blue pin here on the bottom hole. Facing that way. Just got to bring the camera down a bit. There we go. And that's that for that stage. And next stage is another small black L shape. There we go. With a blue pin, axle. And that is going to go on the other end of that black pin there. I'll line up 2 pins. There we go. Got it. And then push this through. No, not yet. Then we got the 8 axle with the stopper on the end. There it is. And a red. We've got a moon gear. Okay. That's going to go on the end. And then this is coming into there like that. And then you've got the red bushing on the end. Another 15 is going to be joining. So we've got 2 black pins on the ends, 1 hole space, black pin, and then we've got a blue pin that is going to be further down. And that is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then drop that with the stud facing out. Then this is going to join on the end of that. Well, it kind of gives you an idea of how big the vehicle is going to be, which is quite big. Right, so then we got 6 axle, 1 hole connector, 6 axle, that's an 8, that's 6, 1 hole connector, push it in about 3/4 in. Then we've got a 4 axle with a stopper on the end. It's going to go in across, and then the bigger gear is going to go on the end of that, like so. And then we got 2 hole axle connector is going to go on the end here. And then we got another, we got a 7 axle. That's not a 7 axle. That's a 7 axle. It's going to be joining these here. Kind of get them leveled up. And then it's going to be capped off with a 2 hole connector on the end like so, and then another one of those 2 axle connectors like that. There you go, make sure everything's centralized. Not having a very good time holding this today. And it looks more or less. I'm sure we got to push it out a little bit. And so then we've got another 4 axle with stopper is going in the top, with a moon gear on top of that. It's interesting, they're not making contact. I don't know if they are supposed to make contact. They are. I just got this in the lower hole, and then that should make contact. There we go. That's more like it. Then we got 2 L-shapes plates. So L-shaped plate on there, and another L-shaped plate on top of it. So you kind of doubling up your L-shaped plates there. Then a black pin is going to go in between. So in that hole there. And then we've got a red axle going through the axle hole here, and then an angled Technic connector on the end of that facing out, like so. Then we got 2 closed, coat hangers. So we got the 2 black pins in here in the back, and then the 2 coat hangers are going to pin to the end of that. So that's 1. You see why I call them coat hangers. If anybody uses them these days. And then we go turn it upside down, and then this is going to fit. Grey axle is going into that grey 2 axle hole connector, and then just slot in like so. So that must be an axle. That must be an axle. Interesting little setup so far. All right, so the engine looks quite good. So we got that, a red pin with the sleeve on the end, a black pin in the front, and a blue pin short with a stud on the end in the other. So you kind of got that arrangement there. Then we got engine blocks, standard engine block making. So 2 black pins, engine block, 2 black pins, if I can find one, engine block, and 2 black pins. 1, 2, and then blue pin stud facing that on that side. I got that on the wrong hole. Because there. And then the engine block's going to mount onto the red and the black pin, like so. Pistons. All right, so we want these guys. We want some piston arms. There's one. And another one on top of that. Can't find my piston arms today. There we go. Then the tan piece, and then we've got red pin, 2 more piston arms, and there's another one. Make sure your piston arms are with the little chamfered piece facing towards each other so that they kind of join like that. If you have it the other way round, like this, you kind of get that gap for a start, and that kind of tells you that you got them the wrong way round. So have them with those chamfered pieces facing each other. I've lost the other piston arm. There it is. Facing each other so they fit together nice and neat like that. And then we got another one of those tanned crankshaft pieces. There it is. And it's going to go down. And then another crankshaft piece, but that we're going to take the 2 piston arms, do the same thing with your other piston arms. And this should be the last one. There it is. Facing in. And then join the 2 crank pieces together, and you should have something similar to that. They are a little bit tricky to put together if you haven't done them before. And put the pistons on the ends of the arms. And last one. Whoops. Slippery. There we go. And that's your piston arrangement. Now the next thing is, and this is also kind of tricky as well, is to align the pistons. Engine kind of upside down and just drop 3 pistons in, and hopefully they should match. Like so. I'm hoping I got that the right way around. It looks right to me, but then again, you never know. Right, so then we got a 4-axle. So we got the 4-axle, and that's coming in into the center hole. That's going to attach to the crank, like that. And you should have some sort of motion. Not going to get the full motion. Well, you could, but once you get the next engine block mounted, then you'll be able to test it. So 2 black pins again. Engine block. 2 black pins. And that's tight. There we go. Engine block with, yep, you guessed it, 2 more black pins, like so. And then you're going to line up the last 3. And then it's going to sit on that blue pin with the stud. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cap that off with the other part of the frame. This will keep it all in position. And there you go. Now twist your engine, and there you go. You have a fully working 6-cylinder engine. Now we got to drop a 3-axle into the other side of the crank, like so. Yep. And keeping it upside down, we are attaching 2 Technic 2-hole connectors, and you're alternating the blue pins, one on one side, one on the other, and it's going to be mounting on the 2 last center holes of the bottom of it. And so we want that piece, and we want that piece, and we want another blue pin with axle. Again, alternating, so got one on either side. Turn it around, pop it in, and you should have something like that. And we're going to put the next red pin into the engine as well to secure that in place. So you should have 2 red pins there, blue pin and a black pin. 5-hole Technic beam, light grey, there we go, and 2 black pins, 1 on either side. 1, 2, and then we're putting some smooth sleeves over the top of that, and it's probably going to be exhaust. There's 1 and 2. And that's going to attach to the last 2 blue pins on there in the middle. Give it a bit of a wiggle because you're lining up 2 pins like that. Oh, and then we're going to be attaching this little piece. So we got 7. 7 is odd number, so 7. That's a 7. That's Oh, that might be a 5 actually. No, that's 5. Okay, this is a 7. Big grey bushing goes in the middle, and we're going to have two 2-hole connectors, one on each side. Make sure they're both hanging down the same way, so they're like that. And then we got 2 black pins going in there. Find my black pins going into the top hole, like so. Then we got these crank arms, and we got these yellow bushings. So the yellow bushings are going to go on the axles, like that. And then these crank arms, these grey crank arms, are going to be so it's going into the center hole, like so. So you got this overhanging, and you got the pin, these 2 pins here facing out, and then it looks like we are joining that with a 1-hole connector or a 2-hole connector, universal joint type thing, and we're popping 2 4 long axles, 1 in each side. So you got that kind of thing there. Make sure that I've got everything on there. Looks good. And then attach it to the other side of the motor, axles facing up. The pins are going to go into the bottom 2 holes here of the engine, like so. And then we got moon gear that's going on there, but we got a bushing going on top as well. So we want the bushing first. Large grey bushing on the axle. Push that in so it's nice and neat. And then a moon gear. Moon gear on top of that. And that's still going to drive the pistons. And we got 8 long axle with stopper on the end. 8 long axle. Another one of those connectors. And yellow bushing. And then a tan gear on top of that. Gear teeth facing up, not down. And then these are going to, oh, we got a bushing another bushing going in there. Okay. Okay. So let's go in there. And then we're spacing a bushing out. Right. Okay. I'll put bushing in for now. Push it in a little bit further so that we can get this axle in there. And it actually looks just about right. And then the big gear on the end of that. And that should still drive your pistons. Next thing is 2 small L shapes, have them like a gun. We got a blue pin going all the way long ways in, so it's half in on either side. Black pin on top of that. Then you got a 3 axle in the axle hole there. I go halfway. And then a black pin next to it. That's why I put the axle in first, to locate where the black pin's going, because the black pin's going next to it. And this is going to line up with this connector here and this hole here. So now you're going to know how far you should put that bushing in. I'm going to hold that with one finger, and then the axle is going, the pin's going to go into the connector, the axle is going to go into the connector, drive the axle home, like that. Cool. So basically, just for reference, the axle off the end of this bigger gear is very flush. So that's kind of how you know where your axle's going to hang. Next is the two dishes that we used in the main model for the headlights, but we're going to stack them this time. So stack the dishes. Not quite clean the dishes, and then these are going to go onto a jumper plate. Where's my jumper plate gone? There it is. On top, like that. It's kind of a cool look. And that's going to go on these two studs here. Like that. And then we've got 4 5-hole well, that just came out. I'll put that back in. There we go. 4 6-hole. Sorry, 4 6-hole plates. Technic plates. So we want, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to be doubling them up. So it's going to be 2 on each side. So take 1, put your black pins in, 1 in, and 2, and 3 will be next door to each other. The instructions seem to show that you're holding both plates together beforehand. I think this might be easier. One, two, yeah, that was fairly easy, and we're doing 2 of those. So we'll do that again. 1, 2, 3, and then put the other plate behind. Push the pins all the way through both plates. That's 1, that's 2, and 3. And these are going to go on either side. So we are turn the engine over so your exhausts are at the bottom. These are going to go on either side. So they're going on this axle here and this pin here. And the pins are going to be facing out. So it's like that. Oh, and we're finally mounting it. Okay, cool. So it looks like it's going there like so. Don't seem to be getting any control from that just yet. And then I guess we're driving these pins into there to hold that in place. That's what's going to happen. So we need a sleeve, a bushing on this axle here. We want a small bushing. There we go. On that axle there. Yep. Then we're going to drive these home into there. And we got an axle that's going through here as well. By the looks of things. I'm not seeing that axle. Oh, is this the axle? Yeah. There. And that goes into the other side of that connector. Alright, so 2 more 6-hole plates. one 2-hole connector beam. Actually, it's a 3-hole. I'm sorry, that's a 3-hole. And so we've got the plates are going to go on the bottom pin and the blue pin. Like that. And I think that's another plate that's going on top. Let's have a quick look. Yes, they are, because it's actually very dark picture that. It doesn't, you can't see the other plate there that well. So that's on, and then 3-hole connector is going to go. It's the axle in the middle, and then the other 2 ends, or each end is going to go onto those blue pins. And turn it around. And we got another 3-hole connector, or 3-hole Technic beam. Where are you? There you are. And that's going to go on the 2 axles there. And then we're putting a sleeve connector onto the axle that's closest to the engine. And that's going to be your hand of God steering. Oh, hello. We got 2 L plates, light bluish grey, and that's going to go into the hole there. That's going to connect to that, and we are making another piece. So we got this connector here, the 2 tan axles with the smooth piece in between the other side of the axle. So you got a long axle and a short axle, hole facing up, and it's, what is that? That's going to be 2 holes from that pin. Hold the axle in place and then drive it through the 2 L plates and that black pin, and you should have something like that. Another L shape. Is that a big one or small one? Is that a small one? And black pin, blue pin with axle. Right, so we want blue pin with axle is going to go into the end. Like so. And then the black pin's going to go next to it. Then you want a 9 axle, so that's a 9 axle. And that's going to go onto the end of this 3-hole connector. That's going to go onto those 2 pins. Then the axle is going to go there. Hold it in place, put a red bushing on one side. And then a red bushing on the other side. Like so. And then this is going to attach to it's interesting, isn't it? I think there's a hole gap, and it's going to go into there, which means the axle is going to go into that axle hole on the L-shaped plates, like that. Not quite sure what that is going to serve. Coat hangers. Okay, so 2 coat hangers. Grey pin, frictionless. So these are going to move, or there's going to be some movement in between them. which means these going to spin. This is going to spin. Then we got a 2-axle or 2-pin connector with a hole. It's going to go into the top, and then we've got a. First of all, I've got to put it in the right way, like that. Then we've got a 5-hole Technic beam. Is going to go on the end of that pin. This is quite bizarre. Then go turn it upside down, like that, and then this is going to attach with a tan pin with axle. It's going to go through the end, like that. I wonder what that's going to attach to, because it's not going. It's not attaching to anything. Oh, I see. I see. Right. So this pin here in the center is going into this connector here, like that. And that's going to be your steering, I'm guessing. I think that's going to be steering rack. And 7 long axle and a 5 long axle and 2 axle hole connector. Like so. And then a red bushing and a grey bushing. What's the difference between the two? No idea. Apart from obviously the red, the colour. It might be the grey one doesn't have any friction bars, whereas the red one might. I don't know. Then another 2-hole axle connector. Line it all up. So it's kind of centralized. And then this is going to go with the longer axle on the end here. And it's going to go just after that blue pin with stud. Then we got to close that off and hold it in place with another 2-hole axle hole connector in there. It's kind of an interesting build so far. Okay, so we've got a 5-axle, 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 and a black crank arm. There we go, like so. And then 2 L-shape plates, black. And it's going to go through the axle hole. And another one on top of that. Like that. Have a quick look on the instructions. Yeah. And then 7-axle going into the other side here. So 7, so it's a light grey. Odd numbers are the greys. Even numbers usually work out to be the blacks. Like that. And then we got 2 bushings going on either side, 2 large grey bushings on either side. And another large grey bushing. They do roll about a bit. I do need these plates soon, so we'll keep an eye on where those are. What are we looking for? Grey bushing. Large grey bushing. I got a small grey one. Large grey bushing. onto the panels. Yeah. So all, there's another bushing, that's a smaller one. There's another bushing. Okay, now we're finding the bushings. But we want a large grey bushing. There's another one. I keep finding the small ones. Maybe we should double up a small one. That's what you do, you improvise. Ha. On the other side. And then got these two axle hole plates on either side of that. Oh no, that's actually with a red axle going through the top. So red axle through the top of the two black L shapes. And then these guys are just going to hang off like earrings, like that. And then these are going to connect to the back end, long axle facing out again, so like that, and then being connected onto via periscopes. So periscope hole facing up. And finally we're closing off the bodywork. And it's actually going to have some pins put in it. So we want a pin, then it's a hole, then it's a pin, then it's a hole, then it's a pin. And just go pop that on there. And then I can work out where the blue pin with stud goes, which is right there. Like that. And then we're going to pop the other 15 black beam. Can't believe that went over there. On the end. Like that. With a grey bushing just to close that axle off. And then 2-hole connector, axle, Technic, dark bluish grey with a blue pin with axle and a long blue pin. The long blue pin is going to go into the middle hole, and then that is going to fit that way with the with the pin facing along with the engine. It should fit there. Turn it upside down, and then we've got the grey Technic beam going across. That's what those pins are just been set up for. So that and that. Keeping it upside down, we're doing the lights. Okay, so we got the long modern faces. There they are. 2 blue pins with studs, and the 2 trans red 1x1 circular plates, just like in the main build. So same sort of light design. And find the other piece. It's there somewhere. There you are. Blue pin with stud. Blue pin with stud. Trans red. I don't know where you're rolling to. Trans red plate. Trans red plate. And then these are going to attach to... So upside down, facing out, same way as the exhaust, they're going to attach to these blue and black pins here. Like that. Doing it up the right way. And 2 more 6-hole plates. Blue pin, long blue pin into the end, all the way, long ways in on both plates. And then that is going to go across like that one. So attach it to the black pin and you can kind of work out the hole where the blue pin's going to drop. It's kind of the frame there. And then we got the axle part next. So grey axle with a break in the middle. It's dark bluish grey. Here we go. And it has kind of a collar around it so it stops things from dropping all the way down. We got a short bushing going there, and then we got the 3-hole Technic beam, axle through the middle, keeping the bushing facing towards the model. It's going to go onto those 2 blue pins there, and the axle will face into the hole in between the Technic connector there. So kind of like that. And then we got the other 2 L shapes going on this side here. So we want 2 more grey L shapes. There's 1 and 2. And they're just going to go on the tan grey and also line up with that pin as well. So give it a bit of a wiggle. A bit more of a wiggle. Yeah. Now we're starting to get a little bit more built up and a bit more symmetrical. We've got some beams coming up. So we've got 9-hole, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9-hole beam, 2 blue pins, and it's 3 holes. So 1, 2, 3, drop. Then there's a hole, drop. Then you got 2 grey pins, frictionless, are going to go in after 1 hole, like so. And then these guys are going to go into the holes here, but underneath. So it's the blue pins are going to go in these 2 holes here, and those pins are going to be facing up. And we've got, okay, so we're closing this off, righto, and with a periscope, hole facing up as usual, like so. There we go. And oh yeah, another 2-hole axle connector on the other side of that as well. So yeah, kind of getting symmetry now. And then we've got what looks like another part of the steering. So it's a H shape, big H shape, with the 4 long axle with stopper on the end. It's going to go through. Then you've got the red bushing on the other side of it to stop that axle from falling out. And that's going to attach to these 2 beams here. These 2 beams here. It's going to attach between those. Axle facing out. So it's a bit like that. And that should move with all that. I'm not really entirely sure what this part's going to be. And same again with the other side, right? Okay. And that is going to attach to itself, right? Okay, so it's just going to float for a bit. Now we want a 4-axle with a stopper. There it is. And then red bush in. And then pin it, that hole there. No. That hole there. So the axle's in line with the beam. It's in line with that beam there. And then we got another 9-hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 2 black pins. It's going to be 2 holes and then drop. 2 holes, drop. And that's going to go on top. So it's going to go across these blue pins, these 4 steering pin, no, these 2, these 4 steering pins. So it's going to be pins facing up. So it's 4 pins to line up. So it could be a bit tricky. There we go. We got it. And so far, so good. And we got another 9-hole going across these 2 to join these together, and now that doesn't float and it should work together. Cool. And we got B 2-hole axle connector with a red axle, and that looks like it's going to go. It's going to, okay. It's going to go like that. And then push the pin through. Gotcha. Right. And then got a black 1-hole connector, 3 long axle. It's going to go into one side. Actually, no, it's going to go into this connector here. Push it through just slightly so that you can get the tip out, and then attach that onto there and push. I don't know if you're pushing it all the way through or not. Yeah, you are. Yeah, okay. And we got an 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11-hole connector with frictionless pin, and it looks like it's 2 holes. I get my instructions because that picture is a bit dark. Yeah, 2 holes. Good job I looked. 2 holes, and then small L shape, and it's going to go in the 2nd hole. So it's like the middle. And then it's going to face down with the L shape on top. And it's going to go on there. Okay. So it's 2nd hole. It's going to go on there. And on there. Oh, I don't see that somehow. Because that's not level. How does that work? that won't connect. That's right. Oh. Right, it's connecting that part, the axle there. Right, gotcha. 1, 2, 3. So it should drop there, and that is all part of the steering. And another 9, and I think it's the last one actually. So 2 black pins, 1 on either side. That's so. And that's going to go underneath these 2 periscopes to form a bumper, probably. Like that. And so we've got an 8 axle. 8 axle, 2 1 hole connectors, and a grey bushing in between, and another 1 hole connector. It's going to be kind of flush like that. Then we're putting a grey smooth sleeve down the middle. Can I find my grey smooth sleeves? Yes, I can. Like that. And then we're going to we're going to it's going in that hole there. Okay. Push that through, and then bushing on the other side. Like that. And thinking we're putting 2, yeah we are, yeah, and another grey bushing, right. I had all the grey bushings. I've had all the grey bushings and I can't find one now. So the 1 hole connector onto the axle. Maybe that was what flew off my desk. Hang on a second. Oh no, that was a blue pin with axle. Oh, there's me double connector. And that's where my axles are. Oops. Pop that off for a second. Just doing a quick fix here. If we can. Should be able to. So I try and push this axle through so I can get these bushings. 1, 2. Push that axle through a touch and get the big bushing that was supposed to have gone on there. And then push the axle back. pop the periscopes back on. And then the bumper back on there. And then we've got our small bushings that I couldn't find. Yay. Yep, so bushing after the one hole connector and then another one hole connector to follow that, like so. Oh, headlights. Oh, we're using buckets for headlights. That's cool. I liked the way the buckets were used for well, that's interesting. For the exhausts. I thought that was really clever. And we got two small short blue pins. So that's the first two. Now we want two more. Alright, we've got trans clear, then the bucket. I'm not quite sure well what that does. I'm not quite sure, but that's how it is. So that's how it is. Pin, then bucket, and these are going to attach to those one hole connectors we just put in. So trans clear buckets are going to go into the inside holes or inside connectors, and then the non-trans clear are going to go on the outside. And why they're trans clear rings are... Oh, I know why. It's to give that step effect, that kind of curved effect there. That's why. Alright, so this looks a bit dark. Small L plate and a right angle with a blue long pin. Short end in first, and then the long end is going to go into the second hole from the headboard of the bed, like that. And then we got a 3-axle going on the end for the bed, and then on that 3-axle we've got a fire hydrant, like so. So it's got these two connectors facing up. And then we got to put a T-bar on the end. So T-bar with the T at the bottom, going across the pins like so. It's kind of complicated, isn't it? And this is going to attach to these two axles here. T-bar on the top, so that these axle connectors are going to be what connect on the axle like so. And then we go, it looks like we're doing the seat, which is a large blue L shape. Blue pins, one at the top, one hole, then drop the pin, and then drop the pin at the very bottom. So it's kind of, all the pins are going in long ways. Then we've got another L shape going on the end. And then we've got the 3-hole Technic beam on the middle. Then this is going to go, this pin's going to go into this hole here, like so. And I guess we got another seat coming. So we got 2 seats. Not yet. No, we got some panel work. Okay. Panel work. So that's the seats. Here's the panel work. So take this, and it's a light grey, or is it light blue? It's light grey. Here we go. With the blue pin axle. And then that's going to go in that hole there, like that. And then we've got the axle with the stud on the end and a one hole connector, black. That's going to go through the axle hole, and then we got a black pin on the end of that one hole connector, like that. And then this is going to attach. So the axle is going to go through this hole here and into this connector here, into that plate, like so. And that's what holds that in place. That's why we're using that axle plate. So we got two black pins dropping in there. One, two, one on either side, like so. Then a blue, a 5-hole Technic beam on top. Then a black pin on the end, and a blue pin with stud right next to it. So it's in between the two black pins. And then we've got a 3-hole Technic beam going on the end of that that black pin. Guessing this is going to be a door. And then model facing that way, that way. How's that going to connect? Oh, we haven't done the other side of this. Yeah, there it is. So we'll build that first. So we want the right angle. A right angle, a blue short pin in first. Black L shape. We've not got many parts left now. It's in the middle. 3-axle at the end of the bed. Periscope at the end of that 3-axle. Not periscope. Fire hydrant. And the T-bar. Wonder what happened to that. T-bar facing up. Connectors going into the axles. Like so. Now we can pop this on. And that goes on the end of the T-bar. Like so. So yeah, I think these are doors. That's what I think they are. Right, catch up. That's that one. And then we're doing it again, right? So, other panel. We're not putting stickers on. James didn't do that. This is part of the James Yorke challenge. By the way, check out the video up here. There's a link there. Yeah. Actually, hang on a minute. It's there. There it is. Check out that link there for the James Yorke challenge. Also, you'll find the main build, the hot rod for this set, in that playlist as well. So we want a 2-hole axle plate. There it is. And we want the blue pin with axle. That's just going to act as the fastener. And I've got the wrong way. Oh, there we go. And the 4-axle with stopper. 4-axle with stopper. Wow. there it is. And one hole connector, that should be the last one, I think. Through the axle hole, and then drop a black pin on the bottom. Oh, other side. So axle's like that, yeah. So it's like that. And then pop the axle through. How is that still wrong? How is that still wrong? How is that still wrong? There we go. No, it's not. Like that. And the two black pins, one on either side. 1, 2. The 5-hole Technic beam on top. Black pin on the end of that. And a blue pin with stud, which should be the last one, which is what's going to make it hard to find. Yep. Okay. Blue pin with stud. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm not finding that. Oh. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So, the 3-hole. That's the stud's supposed to stop it from going further. There we go. That's in. And the other seat. So, big blue L shape, 2 holes, drop, so it's in the middle, and then a 5-hole Technic beam goes on top of that. Then we got like a crank handle on the end, like so, and a 3-axle with a connector. There's our 3-axle and our connector, and it's going to go through the axle hole of that crank arm with the hole facing up, and this is going to attach to these 2 black pins here, and get the model facing the right way, like that. There you go. So it's kind of forming the windscreen bar. And same again to the other side. So large L shape, black pin into the middle hole, black 5-hole connector, crank arm. There is crank arm in there, and 3-axle into the axle hole, and then into the beams like so. So it keeps that crank arm in place. It looks like that's only going to go into the black beam. Still keeps it in place, but then you got the little piece poking out there because it's going to join onto the end of that connector there. So on these 2 black pins, and then just line up the axle with the connector, push it home, and you kind of got the front piece going on there. Oh, here we go. So we got an angular part, we've got to turn it over, and we're going to drop a black pin. So it's going to be the first pinhole, and then we got a 9 axle going into the end of the other side of this angular part, keeping it so. We got a 3 axle and a 5 axle, so we want, there's the 5 axle, we want 2 connector sleeves, so 1 and 1, and then the 3 axle is going to go on the end like so, and then this is going to go, oh, we got 3 axle on either side, sorry, 3 axle on either side, so like that. There's your 3s and then your 5, and then that's just going to go into the actual axle hole like that. And then we got the other side going on. Okay, so this looks like the roof, possibly. Push that through, push those through. The axle should just line flush with the angular beams, and another black pin on the other side like that. And we got some periscopes and some black pins. Okay, so we got 2 grey periscopes, black pins, and another black grey periscope and black pin, and these are going to fit 2 holes from the black pin here on the inside. So 1, 2, drop. So you should have a hole before the elbow. Like that. I don't know what that's going to be. Okay, so we've got 11. So these last 4 beams are 11s, so it's not too hard. Black pin on either side. Okay, black pin on either side, join them together, so there's 2 of them, and then we're going to drop the 4 axle with, is that 4? I think that's 3 axle actually. 3 axle with stud on the ends. I'm going to do one at a time because they'll just keep dropping out, and then you just go pop that axle into the connector there, like so. Could be the headlights. Okay. So large blue L shape, long pin. It's going to go in short ways into the elbow of the L shape, and then this is going to attach onto these 2 pins here, well, the axle and the pins there, like so, and then onto there. Like, oh yeah, got to go through 2 beams. There we go, like that. Okay. Oh, this is the rear. Ah, okay. Just because the engine is there, it doesn't mean to say that it's going to be the front, does it? Nope. Same again with the other L shape, and pin's going to go into the elbow. Two beams to work through, so try and just give it a wiggle, and then axle and pin in there like so. There you go. Guess that's your engine compartment. That must be a spoiler then. Spoilers, that's a spoiler. Oh, okay, so 5 axle, drop it through the connector with a hole, line it up with the connector sleeve down there. It's your hand of God steering, so we want a moon gear. Just test it out. Yep, it works. It's a bit stiff because of the connector down here. I mean, that's It's not frictionless, so it's not loose, but it's certainly not. It's not as free as most Hand of God stuff that I've seen or built. So we got 3 axle connector sleeve on either side. So you got this like tiny little bar that's going to go in between there, and then you go drive in 4 long axle one side. You might have to rotate the beam a little bit to line up the axles, and then another 4 on the other side, so it's kind of like that. And then we got an 11 beam, blue pin, driving the long pin all the way through like so, and that is going to attach to, it looks like it's going to attach to this, the L shape there. Let's have a quick look. Wish the instructions on the internet would be a little bit less like vibrant-y or something. It looks too black. Right, so yeah, that is connecting indeed to the L shape there, and that pin there, like that. So it's kind of building the angular part of the bonnet. Right, so 5 axle, not many pieces left, and 2 hole, 1 axle, 1 hole, pinhole connector, and that is going to go, still pretty dark, so I'm going to have a look at the instructions again. It's going to go after the blue pin, right, so it's going to go after the blue pin there, and then we put in another one on the other side. Oh, gotta get it right. Actually, no, that actually looks like it's staggered. So that one. Oh, I see. So that's going to attach to that blue pin there. So again, this has got a bit of an angle. Interesting. Could be steering wheel. And oh, so 2 of these axle connectors with blue pins with axle. So we got 1 and 2, and they're going to go on either side. Hole facing down or across, and the same with that one. So it's like that. There's a bit of a gap there. I'm quite sure if I've pushed that axle. There we go. Close the gap. So I'm not sure if I was pushing that in enough. Right, yeah, so this is the steering this is the dashboard. That's what that is. This is steering columns, so we want, and should be a silver stud, but we don't have a silver stud yet. Put that on there, so we've got stud on the steering wheel, and that's going to go into that hole there. That looks pretty cool, I have to say. That does look pretty cool. This is actually starting to come together, and it's not a bad build actually. It really isn't a bad build. Right, so this is the windscreen part. Periscope, periscope, and 4-axle, and fire hydrant. So periscope hole facing up, fire hydrant axle holes facing across, because it's going to pin onto that blue pin that we just put in, and then the axle piece is going to, actually the holes are supposed to face the same way. So yeah, there you go. 5-axle, no, 4-axle, I want 4-axle, 4-axle, and a periscope. Holes facing the same way. Holes facing the same way. So it's like that. So hole up, goes on sideways. I put the pin on first because you can move the pin then. If you put the axle on, you ain't going to be able to move it. So let's see if I can get that connected, and there we go. And there you go, you got your window frame. Next bit is the bonnet. Okay, so we got these 2 panels here. So we want the last 11 black. We want the last black pin, and it looks like 2 holes, and then we're driving a blue pin all the way, and then we got a hole, and then it's another blue pin, and then these pieces are going to fit on like so. There we go, that's the bonnet. And placing the bonnet on, it just fell off. So it just fell. Oh, the light. It was a shocking surprise. There we go. So this pin is going to go into this grey beam here, like that. And there you have it. Oh, look at that. That looks so good. It does look good. And the actual core set is, yeah, it's the actual core set is really fantastic. So next is the wheels. And we're using the red bushings again as like part of the hubs, which is kind of cool. Nice little bit of decoration. And using the industrial size wheels, side wheels again, because the wheels are the rims are double-sided rims. So you've got the industrial, I like to call it industrial. Usually it's with racing and stuff, but then you got your actual racing wheels on the other side as well. These tires are not going on. There we go. And you got a few pieces left over, so you know, not making any use of the bobbly gears there. Couple of axles left over, a couple of buckets left over. You could probably on the end of your exhaust put those buckets somehow, so you got kind of a flared exhaust. That'd be kind of cool. So like with 2, oh, you got a pin with an axle on the end, like no, a black pin. A black pin would do it. Because it's pin on either side and it might hold it, or another blue pin with stud on the end that would hold it as well, and you'd get some flared exhausts, which would be kind of cool. So we're going to turn it around as it's industrial wheels outside, red hub, red bushings on the hubs like that. Very nice, very decorative. Red bushings, industrial, red bushings, and where's the red bushing? Oh, I know where it is. Right here. Red bushing. There you go. And that looks like a pretty cool... I got one piece missing there. That looks like a pretty cool Dune Buggy type, stock car type. I don't know. It looks pretty cool. It does look pretty cool. I like that. I do like that. I like the front. That's really cool. Do quite a bit with that. The engine. I like this piece here. This little feature here that looks like a electric coil or something. That's kind of cool. So that's obviously your oil cap or something. The exhausts are pretty cool, but like I say, you know, you put the buckets on the end, you get that kind of flared. That would be kind of cool as well, I think. Maybe even put in another one on there, so you got this like treble exhaust or something. And yeah, you got the hand of God steering. And of course, move these out of the way. You get quite a bit left over, so that's not bad. And of course, you've got your pistons working as well. So all in all, a pretty good build. Well, there you go, folks. If you love this and you want to see some more and you enjoyed what you're seeing at the moment, give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs down. Don't be shy. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Sorry. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff if you want to support. Thank you so much. I'm Shaun from BRIT'N. Peace.